One of the main building blocks of Buddhist practice is meditation. In fact, none of Buddhism makes sense without understanding what meditation is and how it works into the system. So in order for you to understand Buddhism, you need to experience meditation, not understand it, because meditation isn't an intellectual activity. In fact, meditation is kind of opposed to intellectual activity. It's about quieting your mind. Now, you can object and say, well, this is a religious practice, but not really. Not any more than if you're eating. That's not a religious practice, except eating is incorporated in something like Catholic communion, where you eat bread and you drink wine. Washing is not a religious practice, although if you dip into the river Ganges, you're washing in the water as a religious practice. So just because you use something in a religious experience doesn't mean that the thing that you're using itself is religious. Meditation is used by a lot of different people. Buddhists use it, Jains use it, Hindus use it, Sufi Muslims use it, Catholic nuns use it, Christian mystics use it, the Quakers use it. But in addition to all those religious contexts, meditation is also used by people who are working with folks with psychological disorders. High anxiety, for instance. Transcendental meditation is used to help get anxiety within control. Or people who are in hospice units, who are dying of a very painful cancer or whatever, learn to meditate as a way of controlling the pain. In those situations, it's not a religious activity. It's simply an ability to work with your body. So, I'm going to teach you a technique for meditation, and I would like you to practice this. Try it a couple of times. Not just once, but a couple of times. And see what that experience is like for you. Now, before I get to the meditation we're going to do right here, this is a breathing meditation, I'm going to tell you about another meditation that the live classes are doing. It's called a walking meditation. There are different ways to meditate, lots of different processes to use, and a couple of different goals. When we gather at the beginning of a live class this week and next week, and we get into the Rose Garden and we do the walking meditation, it's for mindfulness. It's a practice, it's to practice a skill of being aware of everything around us. Just think about this. You drive down the highway, you get to where you're going, somebody says, can you name 3 billboards that you passed? And there's a good chance you won't be able to. That's because most of the information outside of us comes at us, and our brains filter it out to keep us from going nuts. But at the same time, you want to learn to be able to use that ultra awareness, because it'll come in handy for different things. Like my brother, the police officer, who uses that intense awareness of the situation that he's in so that he can pick up all the different clues and keep safe. It has nothing to do with religion for him. It has to do with observation, is what he calls it. Mindfulness is the word Buddhism uses, but all it says is be intensely aware. Observe the world around you. So my suggestion is that a couple of times in addition to this, you go outside. Find yourself a grassy area and stop and stand for a minute. Let your body relax. Stand just normal. Take a deep breath. I'll talk about breathing in a minute. And then listen. What is it you're hearing out there? Are you hearing birds? Are you hearing the buzz of a June bug? Are you hearing traffic go by? Are you hearing some special kind of noise that goes? Little kids in the neighborhood, bicycles going by the front, the mailbox shutting when the mailman goes by. What is it that you hear? Be incredibly mindful of that. Do that for a couple of minutes, 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then shift a little bit. What is it you smell? Are you smelling the freshness of the morning? Are you smelling the flowers in the garden? Are you smelling the chlorine of the pool? Are you smelling the dog that went by a little while ago? What is it in your environment right there? And then focus on what you feel. What's it like on your skin? Is there a breeze? Do you feel the temperature? Is it different on different parts of your body? Become aware. 5 minutes. If you do this a few times, you've begun to develop a process by which you recognize all of the different aspects of life around you. You can use that technique too when you're eating. Take a bite of your cereal and realize most of the time we just shovel it in when we watch TV. But put that bite in your mouth and then think about that bite. As it goes into your mouth, what's the feeling of the cold milk on your tongue? How big was that bite? How full is your mouth? What are those flakes, corn flakes, oatmeal flakes, raisin bran? What does that feel like? What's it feel like when you bite down? Are you eating Rice Krispies? Are you eating Cheerios? Are there different feelings for those things? And when you get a sense of what's happening in your mouth, think about where that food comes from. What was that food before it was little circles in your bowl? Who was the farmer that raised that? How far has that food come to be with you? Be thinking about the food you're eating, and it becomes an intense experience. All of that to develop mindfulness. Once you start down that path, you also want to, in addition to being aware of the world around you, you want to become aware of the world within you. Eventually, through this process, you'll discover the connection between the two, and that's the goal of Buddhism. But for now, what we're going to do for the next few minutes is an interior experience. It's trying to close off what's going on in the outside world now. The mindfulness meditation of earlier becomes the concentration meditation right now. So, ideal, find yourself a chair. A nice straight back chair with a good cushion would be good. Hard chairs, your butt starts to hurt. That's not going to help you. You want to get all that stuff out of the picture. So you find yourself a comfortable chair, a nice straight back chair, and put your feet about that far apart. I know you can't see it, but you can tell where my knees are. And make sure your feet, your legs, your calves are 90 degrees. Don't put them out in front of you, because, try it, you'll feel it in your ankles. After a few minutes, your feet would go to sleep. Most meditation, we're only going to try for 5 minutes, but most meditation can last for 25 minutes to 2 hours. If you really got serious into it, as a Buddhist would, this would be a terribly uncomfortable position after just a few minutes. So, get yourself situated in the chair, feet about this far apart, legs straight down, feet are planted flat on the ground. Don't put them under the chair like this, because the pressure here will start to wake you up. Put that back. Then, what are you going to do? You want your back straight, but you don't want it stiff. So get up straight, and then let your body relax. You need to do something with your hands. There are a couple things you can do. Buddhists tell you this is the ideal position. One hand goes inside the other hand, and your thumbs fold over to make a circle. It's a comfortable position. Try it. If it works for you, go for it. If it doesn't work for you, you can try another one. Just do this. Just get your hands nice and comfortable. You want to make sure that you're not putting your elbows on anything, because that'll put your arms to sleep. So get comfortable, one position or another, and then we need to work on relaxing. Your head, if you can feel it right back here as you're sitting up straight, you'll feel some pressure in the back of your neck until you get into the right position. So you're going to drop your look down. Your chin actually goes down, so that when you look straight out, you're staring at a spot about 3 feet in front of you. That's the perfect position for your head. Up too high, your neck will start to hurt. This, your head is self-supporting. You can meditate with your eyes open or your eyes closed. Some people will say it's better if you do it one way, some the other. It doesn't matter. I've done it both ways. It can happen either way. So, when you're in a comfortable position, your head is in position, close your eyes or close them about halfway, whichever way you choose to do, and then you have to begin to relax. Your body needs to relax. Let all the tension flow out of you. That's an intentional effort. It is not something that just accidentally happens. In fact, if you learn this technique, it doesn't take long, it'll make it so much easier to fall asleep at night. you'll be able to just let yourself melt into the bed. Right now, wiggle your toes. You feel them? And then just let them drop into the floor. And then you're going to feel it in your ankles. Move your legs back and forth a little bit. Feel what's happening in your ankles. And then very intentionally let go in your ankles. Do the same thing with your knees. As you feel it in there, very intentionally, let the muscles relax in your knees. And then, right here in your lower back, move your hips a bit. Then let yourself settle into the chair, relaxed. Your shoulders are next. Move them a little bit. Let them fall as the tension falls out of them. Your elbows, and then your fingers. Wiggle your fingers, and then just let everything flow out of your hands. Right now, the back of your neck. Move it a little bit, and then let that tension flow right out of you. The last part is right here, behind your eyes, on either side of your nose. Actually think about it. And then intentionally let it go. When your body is relaxed, meditation simply consists in this. Breathe in. One deep breath will tell you what it's all about. Breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your nose. Fill your belly with air, and then let it go out slower than you took it in. Take that deep breath, and then feel everything just drop out of you as you exhale. As you meditate, as you move into this state, you can begin to feel it in your nose. You feel the breath come into your nostrils. Your nostrils begin to flare. You may not feel that, but you can feel the coolness of your nostrils as the new breath comes in. And as the breath comes out, you feel the warmth right here as that warm air moves back through your nose to the outside. Meditation consists in thinking about your breath. This kind of meditation, just concentrate on the breath as it moves in, into your body, and then moves out, back out of your body. Think about the path that the breath is taking. Follow it in, follow it out. Think about what that breath feels like as it fills you. Think about what it feels like as it leaves you. Again and again, you feel your breath. There are other things you're going to kind of try to get into your consciousness. All kinds of things are up there. Buddhists call it monkey mind, all chattering away up in the trees. And while you're trying to focus on your breath, you might all of a sudden go, oh crap, I got to study for my chemistry exam when I'm done with this. Or, you know, I wish my car ran better. Or my mom was so mean to me this morning. Whatever it is, it's there. It's a part of your consciousness. But you don't need it right now. For 5 minutes, it's not going to do you any good to think about it. So recognize it. Ah, yeah, the chemistry test. And then, almost as if you're grabbing it and putting it on a physical shelf, park it. I'll deal with you 5 minutes from now. And another thought comes rushing in, grab it, and park it on its own shelf. I see you, I recognize you, I'll deal with you when I'm done. Bit by bit, you take the consciousness that we've got fighting up there, and you park it. Each time you go back to focusing on your breath and your breath alone. Don't try to pretend those thoughts aren't up there. Recognize them. But intentionally park it and go back to breathing. Even for a beginner, it doesn't take very long for most of those thoughts to just stay in their own place. And you begin to feel what it's like to have nothing fighting for your consciousness. Just focus on your breath and your breath alone. There's no God to worry about at this moment. This isn't an act of prayer. It's not an act of devotion to or for anything. It is you, your body, working on becoming aware of your breath. Focus on your breath for 5 minutes. I challenge you to do this 3 times this week, 3 times next week. 5 minutes, 6 minutes, counting relaxation time. At the end of that 2 weeks, you'll have a fairly good idea why Buddhists think this might be a good tool for us. I'll explain more as we get through the process of this particular unit about what you do when you reach certain levels of meditation. But for now, if you can master the idea of parking things in your mind and focusing on your breath, you're well underway to knowing why Buddhists talk about it the way they do.